Hi, I'm Nathaniel Rich, one of the editors at 84,000, Translating the Words of the Buddha, a global non-profit initiative to translate and make freely available the nearly 232,000 pages of the Tibetan Buddhist canon. Today I have the privilege of sharing with you some insights on the second set of texts in our Sūtras for Well-Being series, the dedication fulfilling all aspirations and the dedication protecting all beings. These two texts are short but sweet and quite unique. Even though they're included in the Kangyur, they're not actually called Sūtras, and they don't have the features typical of Sūtras, but nevertheless they were canonized as Buddha's speech. Actually, these are what we might call practice texts. As you read them, you'll see that the texts actually tell us that individual passages are to be recited 3 times. While these two texts are dedications, they're also prayers of confession and rejoicing, prayers of yearning for the Dharma and for every kind of happiness and well-being for all sentient beings. In short, these are prayers that give voice to the most important attitudes and aspirations bodhisattvas should possess, beginning with the genuine wish for the ultimate freedom and happiness of all sentient beings, and ending with the dedication of all the merit from all of one's virtuous acts to the ultimate freedom and happiness of all sentient beings. So, particularly in these times of uncertainty, reciting these texts, reminding ourselves of the qualities of a bodhisattva's heart and mind, has the potential to ease our anxiety and strengthen our courage and resilience. It may seem strange that we're sharing 2 texts at once, but in our research we discovered that these 2 texts have always appeared together. And we also discovered that the dedication protecting all beings in particular is quite exceptional because of its previously unknown and unnoticed link to lojong, or mind training. For contemporary scholars and practitioners in the Tibetan Buddhist lineages, there can be no more public teaching than the teachings on mind training, which were first brought to Tibet in the 11th century by the great Bengali saint Atiśa. The most important of the Tibetan mind training texts have all been translated multiple times over into a number of languages, and the most characteristic contemplative practice of mind training, the practice of tonglen, or giving and taking, is taught throughout the world by both Asian and Western teachers representing all the Tibetan lineages. There's even a book about mind training by a well-known American Zen master. So it might come as a surprise to learn that when they were first being taught and transmitted in Tibet in the late 11th and early 12th centuries by Atisha's disciples and grand disciples, the mind training instructions are said to have been transmitted only in private, from master to disciple. And it might also come as a surprise to learn, as we did, that Sutra sources in the Kangyur for the development of the aspirations central to Tonglen practice, the wish that the suffering and negative karma of sentient beings ripen for me, are practically non-existent. There's a story about the Kadampa Geshe Chekawa who, while searching for one who possessed the instructions on mind training, found himself at the feet of Geshe Sharawa, asking if there were scriptural sources for the mind training instructions. Geshe Sharawa replied that in Nagarjuna's Precious Garland, there are passages such as the line, "May their negative karma ripen upon me. May all my virtues ripen upon them." Exactly what we find in the dedication protecting all beings. Though the story continues, what's interesting here is that there was at least some doubt about the scriptural sources of the mind training teachings, the same ones that are now so widely taught. But that makes the dedication protecting all beings all the more remarkable, in that it could just as easily have provided Geshe Chekawa with the scriptural authority that he sought. For here we have a text, canonized as Buddha Vachana and included among the sutras in the Kangyur, that explicitly articulates the wish echoed by Nagarjuna in 2nd century India, taught in Tibet by Atiśa in the 11th century, and embraced by Geshe Sharawa and Geshe Chekawa in the 12th century. It's almost as if this text is in fact a long-lost or otherwise unnoticed teaching of the Buddha on mind training practice. And now, for the first time, it's being made available by 84,000 for 21st century aspiring bodhisattvas around the world. So for me, this is an exciting revelation. It reminds us, scholars and practitioners alike, that the Kangyur is in very many ways an unexplored universe, and 84,000, in translating the entire Kangyur and making it freely available, is shining a light, as if for the first time, on teachings that I believe will speak directly to us when we encounter them in this way for the first time.